obviously, clubs is the vaguest and most challenging player on the board and psychological, philosophical worldview that can be played in the game. Don't recommend it for beginners of ACES to ACES. Beginners probably would do well to start off playing spades, because spades is like life. You're born, you learn to survive, you start to thrive, you get uppity, you want to get some power, you control, you want to dominate. Or diamonds. If you know anything about psychology, know yourself, not the theater. If you pay attention to what goes on inside you and in the world around you, you have a sense of hope leading to faith, faith leading to knowledge, and knowledge leading ultimately to truth on a big abstract level. Or if you're a creative artist and you're reflected on your art, you can say, wow, the universe is all about creativity. The universe aspires, the individual aspires. It tries and fails. How many times have asteroids struck the planet Earth, wiping out dinosaurs? It starts over again, for instance. Or, from there on, you know that maybe the universe has a universal principle of perseverance, and that eventually that perseverance leads to some form of success. And that success is the creation of something incredibly beautiful and inspiring. And all you got to do is look around at the world. And if you got the eyes to see, you can see something beautiful and inspiring has been created. Now we're up to the clubs level of ACES to ACES. And this is the most abstract and difficult to talk about. Some would say clubs represents God, that there's some kind of fundamental principle behind the universe that's driving everything. Now I'm noticing the weather under which we're driving and this magnificent scenery. And if you look up there and you see those storm clouds, that creates a sense of tension in you to see storm clouds. And that's the first three cards of clubs. The clubs 2, 3, and 4, tension in 3 phases. And the 3 phases are always nascent tension, evident tension, and established tension. Nascent, you don't recognize it's present. Evident, somebody else would notice in the situation that there's some tension. And then finally established, you are conscious of being under tension. And storm clouds like that represent that established tension when you're aware of the fact you're feeling tension. So that's the clubs of 2, 3, and 4 on the archetypal realm. Now, as tension builds, it transitions from a mere background of tenseness or anxiety or concern to something that more approximates to an impending doom or a crisis. Impending in this case would be the 2, 3, and 4 would be the 5, 6, and 7 of clubs. And the 5 would be, there's doom, the tension is evident, or something is very anxious, but it's only nascent. That transition from tension to actually being in a situation of potential dread and challenge is now beginning to build up inside you as a form of crisis that goes uncognized. So that would be the 5 of clubs. As we move along, once again, we go from the nascent to the evident. Even if it's uncognized by you, other people might look at you and say, wow, something very weird is about to happen with this person. And that would be evident to them without it being conscious to you. The final level is where you go, oh my God, this is really a serious situation. You can see lightning bolts striking from above. They're cracking right over your head. And now it's very established in your being that you are very worried and very concerned. So now we've covered tension, the 2 or 3 and 4 of clubs, and crisis, the 5, 6, and 7 of clubs. So we move on from there. But there's an old Chinese saying, every crisis is an opportunity for change. Every crisis. The reason why you may be in a crisis, or a society may be in a crisis, a family in a crisis, a planet in a crisis, is because it's made bad choices. And those choices have contributed to an overall set of conditions that are extremely risky of the viability of that person, family, community, state, country, planet. However, for every crisis is an opportunity for a solution. And this is the beauty of it. If you can pay attention to the tension, attention, and if you can begin to sense crises emerging, you can interdict the whole situation by saying, what do I need to do now to change these circumstances that can bring about a final resolution that is in harmony with the best aspects of life. And that leads you into the phase of solutions, which is the 8, 9, and 10 of clubs. Well, right now, we've noticed there's tension in the sky, and there was a crisis brewing. But one of the ways nature is resolving this tension and this crisis is through rain. So we're starting to see a few raindrops on the windshield. That's one of nature's way of a solution, potential solution to the mounting crisis in the atmosphere. But that's just an example in nature. What about in people's lives? All right, so you got tension in your life. So you decide that you're going to, let's say, go out on the town and drink alcohol and carouse so you can forget all about your tension. So now you've been drinking. You get back in your car, you have trouble putting the keys in the ignition, you get the car started, you put it in drive instead of reverse to park out. That's your first indication that you ain't all there for driving that vehicle. The solution to those circumstances is, if you're paying attention, is to park it and get a ride home from a friend, call a cab, whatever. Take the bus, the tram, whatever. That would be a solution to the impending crisis that was brought about by maybe a little excess of alcohol when you're out on the town. But there's another form of crisis solution to resolution. You drive the car, you run off the road, you smack into a cliff, and you're dead. The problem is solved. That's a solution that could play out into a resolution of the entire tension to crisis, solution to resolution cycle, or the 4 quadrants of the club series. But here's the interesting thing. Some of us believe that there is a hidden hand behind this entire process, that it isn't all just random events. And it comes down to the world of, let's say, philosophy about whether or not there is a prima cause in the universe, a primary cause, or whether everything just kind of randomly happened. Was the Big Bang just something random that happened? Did it just happen to create the 10 fundamental parameters associated with the manifestation of physical matter that can become biological matter, that can become a complex nervous system, that can become sentient beings ultimately? Or was there a design, an architect of the whole system, a prima causa? Now, in terms of cosmology and philosophy, we'd say you either have the weak anthropic principle or the strong anthropic principle. You can decide when you play ACES to ACES whether you want to do either of those approaches. You can do the weak anthropic principle, that things lead to other things that cause tension and crisis, bad choices. Good choices lead to good solutions, bad choices lead to bad resolutions. Or You can believe, like in the game itself, that there's a hidden hand, a clubster, playing that, managing the game, trying to get everything to turn out well. So, if you're playing clubs, you get to control the rules. And if you're the clubster, your goal is to get a perfected world, or a perfected individual, or a group, or whatever level, that has ultimately is able to dominate without ego its environment, and therefore does the right thing for everyone. That's called the philosopher king in Plato's parlance. Or you want to, and at the same time you want to get that guy to king, but not first, not in the rules of aces to aces. You want to get to be a king of knowledge, which is called truth on the psychological level, which is someone who has an inherent understanding of how everything fits and how everything connects to everything else, how it all makes sense. Or, on an artistic level, someone who's so good at what they do, they inspire millions to want to take up their own path of creative expression. Finally, and most humbly, if you are the clubster, you want to get yourself to the point where you're in harmony with all those other levels, and you can all graduate together, aces to aces. Here comes